Okay, Steve, well, I'm going to introduce you to your wonderful, wonderful Steve Factor. And come on, Steve.
All right.
I'm so proud of Steve. He's just flying right now with success and great things. He's just a genius in what he does, and he works hard. He's a hard-working guy. And, you know, when people are like that, it's just like, phew. Because there's so few like that, right? People want everything so easy. You're at it all the time. Bam, 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 post. I'm like, how do you all this post all day long? I can't keep up with you. And but it's good motivation. It keeps me on my toes, you know? Because now we're like follow each other along and we play a lot. You started the whole superhero thing on Facebook. Who saw that? You did. Oh, there's this joke that started about the super, because he was saying, I'm still going after, like, you know, so many hours. It's pure energy. And I'm like, shit, you're like a superhero cartoon. And then we started trying to find names for him. And your friend gave you a beautiful name that I like. It was something with sunshine. Energy, sunshine, something. And we're like, oh, okay, that's it, that's your name. And Steve is like, no, I already have a name. I'm pure energy. I'm like, oh, okay, fine. Then I'll take the name. But then it was the other lady's name, so I couldn't take it because she was going to use it. I'm like, shit. So I go to my page. I go, okay, I'm starting a superhero name contest. So I got like 45. Suggestions. It was beautiful. It was a really cool exercise. You know, I recommend you guys, you do that with your friends. It's like a confidence booster. It was a really nice process because I received so many sweet compliments from people. And saying really cool names, you know, and I wrote them all down and I couldn't pick one, so I gave myself 6 names. Based on the mood I was in.
That's
so
right.
I'm kind of a civil superhero. I can't pick one. But this is pure energy from Steve Factor. I leave you with him and enjoy him you're nominated for the Raw Food Award.
Raw Coach of the Year 2012.
Yes. I'm telling you, yes. He's doing great. So he's going to see the fruit of all that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks so much, Myra.
Have fun.
Well, thank you for having me, Myra, and thanks for joining me. Coach2Edify Foundation. We have it here, and we're live on YouTube. We're not live, but you're seeing me now, and it's live. So I hear Myra introduce me, and she says the word like genius and superhero, and my first thought is like, no way, like me? No. And then I think about what I help teach other people, and yes, I am a genius. I am a superhero, and so are all of you. And we have this whole mindset of like, it's not enough, we're not enough. I come from I'm not enough, and there's like. And that's not what I was told. I was told I was enough, but something, whatever happened early in life or whatever, was just not enough. And if I could do this, then I will be liked. Or if I could do that, I'll be liked. Instead of embracing who I really was. And so my message, the Pure Energy message, my company's Pure Energy Factor. I'm known as Pure Energy Steve. Whole Foods has dubbed me the Pure Energy Chef. And what we are, what pure energy is synonymous with love and light. We hear love and light. It's kind of like a trendy saying right now. Love and light. We end letters, you know, Facebook posts. Love and light. Love and light. And love and light is pure energy, and this is what we all are. And so, I help people with the raw food diet, and I help them increase their energy. The number one thing that people want more than anything is more energy. I hear it day in, day out. And so what I'm here to tell people, because people say, oh, I hear the raw food diet gives you more energy, or I hear this exercise program will give you more energy. And so I'm here to tell you that no, none of that does. None of it does. You already are. There's so much energy in you right now, beaming through you, through all of us. We don't even know how much energy there is. It is unfathomable to even comprehend. But what I help people, what Myra helps people, what anybody in my position can help you with is really just removing the obstructions that are blocking you from your birthright, which is pure energy. And so we do this on a few different levels. We do it on a physical level with the food. Food for so many people, 3 times a day, we're getting in our own way and we're blocking our own energy. Then there's the emotional aspects of life, and who are we not forgiving, including ourselves? Who are we holding on resentment to? And we hold on resentments, and there's a saying, I think Buddha came up with it, holding on to resentments is like drinking the poison and hoping the other person will die. And it's like we just hang on to that resentments, and guess what? We could hold on to resentments as long as we want. As long as we want, we could hang on to them. We could be right and they could be wrong in our mind as long as we want. And we could have that thing, but guess what? It robs us of the life we were meant to have. And so there's that, and believe me, I have my own share. I'm not just a teacher of this, I'm a student of this. And I haven't arrived. I'm still in the process of learning every day. And as I learn things, I like to share it with other people. So there's the physical aspects of life, there is the mental aspects and the emotional aspects. And when we take care of the physical, when we take care of the mental and emotional, the spiritual is just there. Because we don't have to work on becoming spiritual because we already are. And so when we start to work on these things that are getting in the way, then there's nothing but spirit. There's nothing but oneness with all of us. The saying goes that there's nothing that could separate me from you or me from source other than my ego. That's the only thing that could separate us. And so a lot of the mental and the emotional deal is diminishing the ego, and the ego wants back. It wants to fight for its life to come back, and it always has a good answer. Hey, she said that or he said that, so here comes up my wall, and there goes the ego. And guess what? I'm right and they're wrong, and I'm not happy. And so when I start to let go of that and say everybody's got their own ideas, their own philosophies, their own whatever, and I give them the dignity to have that, I have a better life. And when I start to take care of myself on the physical level through exercise and sunlight and drinking water and getting enough sleep, by the way, getting enough sleep is one of my weaknesses. There's so much in life. I got up this morning at 4 a.m. and I'm just like, I'm ready. I started having these downloads, and I'm on the computer and I'm just coming up with these ideas for my business and for my life. And my business is so much about helping others. And that gets me really high, because there's one thing about like being in business and just getting all this money and like money. But when I am now getting business and helping others at the same time, I fly high. So I say all of this because food is not the only answer, even though I'm here to talk about food. How many people do you know that eat the best diets in the world and they die at 50 years old? And how many people, right, that I've heard of people in Texas or whatever who are eating steak and eggs for breakfast and wine every day, and they're smoking their cigarettes or whatever, and they're living past 100. And it's like there's a whole mental aspects of life. And so when I help people as a holistic health coach, we do the holistic nature of everything, not just the food. And so the food, I'm here to talk about a weekly meal plan and how I do mine and you can do yours. I am a raw vegan. I eat nothing but fruits and vegetables uncooked. Nuts and seeds as well. And there's lots of raw vegans out there who are like, if you don't do this my way, you're wrong and you're out of the club. And if you're not vegan, then you're a bad person and all of that. And it's like we're all on our path, and I have my path that I believe in for me. And I believe in it because I found that it works. And as it works, I believe in it more. And when I believe in it more, I take more actions to do it, and then I believe it even more. And then I take more actions. And this is the perpetual cycle of success in my life. There's also the success or the perpetual motion of I'm not good, I don't do things right, and then I start to go eat the hamburger again, or the pizza, or the thing for temporary comfort. And then it just reinforces how I'm not good, and so then I want to go have an all-you-can-eat Indian buffet or something to get me like numb, and then it just reinforces again. So there are cycles in life, and there's the downhill snowball, and I don't know what I would call the opposite, maybe the uphill snowball, but there's cycles and there's flow, and so I'm in this flow right now that is the best flow I've ever been in my life. And just yesterday was a huge day for me with so many successes in my life. I'm not here to talk about all my successes, but I am here to say that when I start to believe in myself and I do things to take care of me, I start to have this belief that I'm worthy to take care of. And then I want to do more of that. And then when I do more of that, the belief grows more. And then I want to do more of it. And it just goes and goes in this new thought and this new pattern of life in my head. Because it's never about what's happening in life. It's never about what she said or he did or what this situation is. It's never about that. It's always my perception of what he said, she said, or that situation is. And so raw foods has changed my perception. Raw foods has made me think differently about things. I used to be judgmental and critical about people, and I was just projecting my fears onto them and what they're thinking, and projecting my judgments onto them. And what are they thinking? Oh, I would be thinking like this, so they must be thinking that. I didn't say all that in my head, but my mind goes so fast and just boom, I don't like them. I heard this one lady say one time, this is hilarious. I heard this at a meeting one time where this lady said she saw a lady swimming in the Pacific Ocean. She was on the sand, and she saw her swimming like out past the waves. She didn't know this woman. She just saw her swimming, and she knew by the way she was swimming, she didn't like her. I mean, it's like, it's just, I mean, that's what we do. I identify, and when I heard that, it was in a big audience of like over 100 people, and everyone was busting up because it's like, that's what we do, and we get to catch ourselves. And so in raw food, I catch myself more. I get to see where I'm off, where I am, I become more aware. And so my journey was in raw food. I got introduced to it about 5 or 6 years ago. And I was like, raw food, why would I want to do that? That means no hamburger. All I focused on was what I can't have. And it's understandable. I can't have pizza, I can't have hamburgers, I can't have burritos, I can't have Indian food, I can't have Chinese food, I can't have Cold Stone's ice cream, I can't have Reese's peanut butter cups, I can't have all of this stuff that was like my savior. But it was that savior that was just getting me to feel good for 5, maybe 10 minutes, and then I was like back to me again. And I would look in the mirror and just say, I hate you. I wouldn't say those words, but it was basically that. And it was just like, there was so much self-hatred and so much of that, and it would make me not feel good. And I just go on this hamster wheel of life, and just again and again, and the same day, same thing. And when he told me that, I was like, oh, okay, tell me how that works. Well, you start to have smoothies and fruit, and I'm like, I don't really like fruit. I'll have a banana and an apple, maybe 1 or 2 of them a month. Then there's, salads, I have those when I guess I have to, or like I'm at a, it's kind of like an appetizer. And so anybody who knows me from before would say, you're a what? A raw vegan? I used to have bagels and cream cheese for a meal. That would be my meal. And so I tried it, and I kind of liked the way it tasted. And so I started to try it a little bit more. And then one time I remember trying it for 3 days in a row, 100% raw for 3 days in a row. And I was like, oh my God, the lights are on. Whoa, what's happening here? Everything is everything's real. I'm like I was in a movie before, and now it's 3D, and I would talk to people, and I was present with them. I would look at them in the eye, and I was really here. And I was like, okay, there's something here. And I remember I'm a basketball player, so I shoot, I'm a pretty good shooter. But I went to go shoot free throws, and I was at a gym by myself, and no one was there, and I just started shooting free throws, and I felt so good about it. And I made 83 free throws in a row. And that's like, because I was like, zoom, 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 zoom. Everything was like Avatar or something. I was just like, it just felt, and the concentration and everything. And I was like, okay, there's something to it. So I then had this belief that raw food is awesome, and this is it. And this is the way to do it. And was that enough to make me a raw foodist? No. I had to go through 2 or 3 years of a back and forth dance between knowing how good raw food is and being so addicted to the other stuff. So I had to find a way to make raw food so good that it was better than this stuff. And I had to prepare my foods and know ahead of time. So part of this meal plan is preparing food. People ask me, how do I stay raw? And I said, there's 2 things that are required to stay raw. There's one, we have to prepare our food. We have to know in advance what we're going to be eating. We can't be like, oh no, I'm hungry now, let me go get some raw food. No, that just doesn't work. Because there's so many other options of fast food or convenient food in any form, and raw food it takes some work to get. And now raw food is so easy for me. It's like second nature. It's not even a thing. I know I need to get my bananas that I'm going to eat next week, this week, because it takes, especially in the winter, about a week to ripen. And bananas are a staple of my diet. And so I would, that's one thing that needs to be done, is we need to prepare ahead of time and know, oh, I'm going to this dinner party and there's going to be like a whole buffet there. Well, there's going to be a salad there. I know there's going to be salad there, so let me make this dressing first, my own awesome dressing that everybody at the party now wants to have. Because it's like, I don't play, this is not a deprivation diet. Diet has the word die in it. This is a lifestyle. I'm about living this lifestyle. So I'll bring in like an avocado-based cilantro, cumin, paprika with all this coconut vinaigrette, dressing, and I will smother it on salad. Salads now become awesome. And you get some dehydrated kale chips on it, and you got your croutons. You know, kale chips are like the the new crouton. You know, so you can have your crunch. You can have your fat and your salts and your sugars. You just have to have the right sugars, the right salts, the right fats. And when we have those, everything tastes absolutely great. So what I do on a meal plan, what my typical, I usually don't have a weekly meal plan. I usually have a daily meal plan. And I just do the same thing every day. And the same thing every day in my old life would be boring. I would be bored to have the same breakfast that day than the next. Because I always needed a variety, and I always needed something new to stimulate me, to make me not bored, which is really just saying, I don't like the way I feel, I don't like the way life is. I need enough entertainment to distract me of how I feel on the inside. But when I start to have this new food that has life force energy in it, something happens. Taste buds change. Taste buds come back to where we were meant to be, what is in our innermost DNA. We are supposed to eat fruits and vegetables. Way back when, before fire was even created, archaeologists estimate that fire was invented about 10,000 years ago. And they also estimate that we've been on this planet for millions of years. So it is estimated, and there are some fossils that have been picked up, that people were eating fruits and vegetables and they weren't putting fire to it. They were eating it in their natural state. And so there is so much to what is inside of us, our natural DNA, but we've been perverted in a way, and we've been tainted. And so a lot of times I hear people say, well, I'm just going to go with what my intuition says. And my intuition was to go get 3 Big Macs. That's why my body intuitively needed. You know, and it's like, That's not the case. That's not how it works. When we start to clean up, we can start to then trust our intuition. And the cleaner we are, the more we can trust that intuition. And so as I get cleaner, I start to enjoy foods more, the fruits and vegetables. I start to, if you told me a while ago, here's an orange, and here's a double chili cheeseburger, which one do you want? I would take the double chili cheeseburger 10 out of 10 times. The orange would be, it's just an orange. It's just an orange. This is like something you would just have because you're supposed to. Now I'll have an orange and be like, oh my God, this orange. It's the same orange. My perceptions have changed. And so I help people get back to their original perceptions. I know this is the way I was meant to eat because I feel better than I ever have. And a lot of times we go to the food and we think about, okay, food feels good. I timed it with my friend one time. We went out for pizza. This was like before I went totally raw. And I was like, okay, let's time this pleasure. It's like, okay, we met before at the pizza joint, and we were kind of excited ahead of time. So there was about 15 minutes of pleasure before we got the pizza. So that we could count that as 15 minutes of pleasure. Then we started to eat it. There was pleasure. We were eating. It was a little hot at first, but after it cooled down, it was really pleasurable. It's like, okay. And after about 15 minutes of that, it started to go down in pleasure. It wasn't as good as the first few bites. And then a couple hours later, we were kind of feeling a little, And then the next morning, I know I felt like, here I am again. I don't want to wake up. Let me just stay in bed 5 more minutes, that whole thing. And so there was a half an hour of pleasure. So let's say we have 3 meals a day, and they're each a half an hour. I mean, if you're anything like me, each meal is like 15 minutes because I'm like, blah, 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 blah. So let's just say, for sake, there's an hour of pleasure combined of food a day. But what about the other 23 hours, including sleep? And so now I have pleasure when I eat, and I have pleasure the other 23 hours, including when I sleep. I sleep stronger and harder, deeper in REM than I ever have. And I wake up like, yes, I'm so excited for life. And it used to not be that way. It was like 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes. Let me try to... It's a whole nother way. And I'm the same person. Some of my obstructions have removed, though. And the food does that. Raw food does that. So here's what I do on a daily... What's that?
You mean obstructions in your stomach?
It's obstructions in the stomach and the entire lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is overlooked by so many people now, like in Myra's field and in this whole health field, we start to look at the lymphatic system. But when you're in Western medicine, there's basically two fluids in the body. We're made up of 100 trillion cells and 2 fluids. Blood, everybody looks at the blood. Blood work, doctors, it's all blood work. The other is the lymphatic system. Massage therapists start to look at the lymphatic system. Yoga instructors, health, fitness, we start to look at the lymph system and moving that lymph. The lymph system is 75% of the fluid. The blood is only 25%. The lymphatic, we are interstitially lymphatically constipated. There's a scientific term for you. We think about constipation in our colon. We're interstitially lymphatically constipated, which means that 100 trillion cells, in between the cells, each cell is interstitial, and there's constipation there. And so the receptors of the food we eat, everything that happens with us, it doesn't work. It doesn't latch onto it. We've seen What the Bleep Do We Know? Did anybody see that movie? Okay, you've seen that. So there's like the lock and key to every cell doing. And we can't find the lock and the key in each thing because our cells are polluted and they're constipated around the cells. And so vitamin A, vitamin C isn't even coming there. When we start to eat foods that help, when we start to clean out, we start to absorb more. Like for instance, let's say I'm still on the process of cleaning out. I'm not clean yet. I've been raw vegan 3 years now, like 99%. People say, aren't you so clean now? I'm a lot cleaner than I was, but I've been doing 40 years of not eating clean. So as I'm still cleaning out, the example is I have an apple, and there's a 5-year-old boy right next to me. He's having the same apple, or the apple from the same tree. He's getting more nutrients from that apple than I am. That apple is benefiting him more. He's getting more oxygen from the air that he's breathing than I am. That's like, isn't that amazing? It's same air, but he's getting more because his absorption rate is better and his utilization is better. There's basically 4 processes anytime we put anything in our mouth. There is digestion, there is absorption, there is utilization, and there's elimination. Digestion, we could all work on better. We could all work on better in all 4. So digestion is, we start to digest the food, and a lot of us digest food and then we're like gassy or indigestion, or it just doesn't feel good. And then finally it comes into our bodies, and then we get to absorb what we just ate. And the healthier and cleaner we are, the more we absorb of what we just ate. Then after we absorb what we just ate, the body then utilization. It utilizes what it is. So we absorb, and then we might not even be utilizing as much as we could of what we just absorbed. So our utilization increases, and then our elimination increases, and we start to poop more. We start to release more like we were supposed to. The world is constipated mostly. And if you're not going 3 times a day, there's a level of constipation you're still going with.
See, I was saying the truth.
Yes. And this is, but it's natural for us. I know people, I have clients who don't go for a day. I have no clients who don't go for 3 days, 7 days. I've heard it all. And it's like, you know, and I'll go 3 or 4 times a day. I'll go in the morning, I'll go after each meal, all 3 meals. And it's awesome. I love coming out of the bathroom. I'm like a doggy after. You know how doggies are all happy because it feels so, it's like we're free.
Yeah.
But when it's in us and we're just used to that, see, we don't know how bad we feel until we feel really great. And we say, oh my God, that was my life. I was just used to that. That was just natural. And I was doing the best I could with where I was. But you can start to go to levels of health and increase. I'm fascinated to go to the next level. And I'm always trying to go to the next. And it's just like, you know, but I don't get obsessive about it. And that's a big thing too. A lot of people there's something called orthorexia, when you try to eat everything perfect and do everything perfect in your life. And if you don't do it, then you're beating yourself up. That doesn't do any good. So
What's the name of that again?
Orthorexia.
Orthorexia.
Yeah, ortho means right. Like orthodontist would be making your teeth right, or correct. And rexia means eating, like anorexia. So orthorexia. And so there's people out there that are orthorexic, and it's like if they're not 100% perfect, then they have a bad day. And so one of the things I got to learn about is to give myself a break when I'm not perfect, and learn to love myself no matter what, on the spot, right here, right now, because I'm so much better than I think I am. And this mind could just do all this stuff. So I eat like this in a day. I generally eat the lightest foods first, and I go to the heaviest. And a lot of us say, oh, we don't want to go heavy at late, because we want to like lose weight and stuff like that, and that's all the diet deprivation mentality. I like heavy in the evening for dinner because we want fats in the dinner. Fats sustain longer and help us through sleep, not lose our sugar. We need sugar at all times. We need 5 grams of blood sugar at all times to reach it. So if we have too much sugar, our pancreas will kick in and produce insulin. And if we have too little sugar, our pancreas will kick in and produce glucagon. A lot of people know about insulin, but they don't know glucagon. So 5 grams of blood sugar is what is needed at all times. And so the body will make it happen if you don't have it. So if you have meat, it's going to convert it to sugar. People are so scared of sugar. And sugar is essential. All 100 trillions of our cells run on glucose, but it's the right kind of sugar. I'm not talking Reese's peanut butter cups or Coca-Cola or anything like that. I'm talking real sugar, not fake. Real sugar is fruit. Real sugar comes from vegetables, glucose and fructose, and fructose. And so, with that in mind, I stopped being afraid of sugar, but I got to see what a lot of sugar problems, diabetes, candida, what the cause of those are. And a lot of people go to sugar and say, blame sugar, even fruit, and they say, don't have too much sugar in fruit because sugar is bad and sugar is and a lot of them have had modalities of that and they've worked for their clients. So I'm also a big believer in whatever works, go do that. If your no sugar diet and you're like on all these greens and sprouts works for you, keep doing that. If you're having Big Macs and Taco Bell and that's working for you, keep doing that. I'm serious. Whatever is working, work. For me, what works is sugar. But I can't combine the sugar with starches, and I can't combine the sugar with fats. And that's where a lot of people have sugar problems. Sugar problems come in the form of we're eating bananas, and then we're having cashew nuts with it. So you got sugar and fat. And then what happens is sugar levels rise and they stay there for too long high, and then they take too long to come back down. And we don't want it to go too slow up, too slow down. We also don't want to have fruit juice because that does the opposite. Up really fast, down really fast. We want it perfect. The perfect up and the perfect down. And guess what makes that happen? Fruit. Whole fruit in its natural state. That's what makes sugar levels rise up and go down perfectly. Now, some people have sugar problems ahead of time, and so they have fruit and then they don't feel so good, and that's part of the detoxification process. So lots of people will try the raw vegan diet and they'll be like, they'll start to get all of this going and they'll be like, they'll not feel good. And then they'll talk to their friends, and their friends will say, yeah, you're crazy for doing this. Go eat some meat or go eat some beans and rice or whatever it is that you need your protein. This is crazy, raw veganism. And then they go back to their old stuff, and guess what? They feel better. And when they feel better, they say, see, I needed this, I needed that. The raw vegan diet doesn't work. And then they have that, they go back to it a lot. I've lost clients to the raw vegan diet because of detoxification. It just didn't feel good. I have people I'm working with right now. I facilitate cleanses, and I have my flyers over there, my brochures for cleanses at Sun Cafe. And I have a friend, I've known this guy for 28 years. And he's really interested in what I'm doing. We've kind of reconnected after being away from each other for a while. He lived in another state. And so now him and his wife tried it, and they wanted to get on the cleanse. First day on the cleanse, he's like feeling so good. He's like, oh my God, this is so awesome. The second day, he's like, it's feeling pretty good. The third and the fourth day, he felt terrible. And he's just like, he's getting these flu-like symptoms. He said his legs were so sore, and he just was in so much pain. He texted me saying, I'm hurting. And I'm like, I know. And I told him about this, that this could happen ahead of time. And he like went to bed early that night, and he's just like, you know, and he really wanted to do some other stuff, but he stayed the course. And on the fifth day, this was just this week, the fifth day, on Friday, he started on Monday. This Friday, he woke me up, he called me up, and he like had an awakening of like, oh my God, Steve, I love you so much. This is the greatest thing ever. You're so right. I feel better than I have in so long. This is amazing. And it's like, yes, because he went through it. And he went through it pretty quick. He might not be done going through it. We don't know what the body's going to do and how long it's going to take. to go through stuff, because there's a lot of times cycles. He went through one healing crisis, as they're called, or detoxification episodes. He went through one of them, and he came out the other side. When you go through detox and you come through the other side, you will feel like a superhero. And so you go through it, the body cleanses and stuff, and then you feel so much better. But in the meantime, you don't feel so good. And so I know detoxification works. I am a holistic health coach and a raw food chef and a detoxification specialist. And detoxification specialist is my passion, because I know that detoxifying, the only way to heal a toxic body is through detoxification. Yes, that's a simple term, and of course, but that is the only way we can heal. There's no like this new superfood or this new thing, unless the superfood's going to help you detox. But everyone's like trying to get the superfood, or they're trying to get this or this pill or this medicine from a doctor or this. And it's like, no, we got to detoxify, clean out first, and the miracle starts. Get out of the body's way, and the miracle, you are the miracle. Right here, right now, it's happening in you right now. You are awesome as you are. And it's not going to be I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to be awesome. Actually, you're awesome right now. You're already nothing but love and light and pure energy in you right here and right now. So a daily food intake. What would I do in a day? I start out with my green juice. I don't believe in fruit juices because the sugar goes up and down, but greens have less sugar, and so I believe in green juices. Green juices are awesome for alkalinity and chlorophyll and protein. I do a whole class on where do you get your protein. People are like, protein, what? I need ribs for protein, or I need at least beans for protein, or something like that. That's where I get my protein. And it's like, no, we can't even use protein. Human beings can't use protein. Can't even use it until it's broken down into amino acids. So there's the 8 essentials, and fruits and vegetables have them. So when you get a wide variety of fruits and vegetables, you're covered on the protein level. Go ask the gorilla that could bench press 3,500 pounds where he gets protein. I mean, so we've been brainwashed with the 4 food groups and the pyramid that we grew up with, and I got to learn that the schools that we were taught, the milk and meat industry had a say in that. Of course they did. And the whole milk deal, I mean, we're the only species that not only has milk after we're babies, we get it from other species. And we think we need it to through our whole life. I love milk. I love the way it tastes. I love cheese. There's something called in milk and cheese called casein, which is an opiate. I know why I liked it so much now. I was like, wow, I kind of feel a little numb. Feels a little good having that. I'll have blocks of cheese and more cheese, extra cheese, please. And so I don't do that anymore, and I feel great. Milk products are the most mucus forming, and mucus is our main problem because of the acidity. See, the body builds its own mucus. It builds its own mucus to protect itself from the acids. So milk is very acidic, and meats are very acidic. So we build all this mucus. I still have mucus. I'm still releasing mucus 3 years later. You think, oh well, I'm going to do this 10-day cleanse and I'm going to be free. It's like, yeah, I'm going to be freer, but whatever I have done, there's a compensation for that, and I have done about 40 years worth of work. It's not going to take me 40 years to be free. I don't believe that. It's going to be quicker because that's how awesome the body is. But I am releasing. I am still detoxifying, and it's okay. And so with that in mind, I do juices in the morning, and I have green juice. I could have kale and cucumber and lemon and ginger and cilantro. Put it right through the juicer, and just drink that up. That might be a little harsh for some people at first. So you might want to put an apple in it and sweeten it up a little bit. And you can do that. So, and apples are really good for that. They kind of sweeten it up a little bit. And if you're just starting, have 2 apples. That's okay. The greens do really well in neutralizing some of the sweets and giving it the, or I should say more balancing it out. And now I'm to the point where it would be disgusting for me before having shots of wheatgrass. You know, now wheatgrass is good. Now I could have dandelion juice. I don't know if anybody has dandelion juice, but it's very bitter. I could have it now. It's okay. So I have my green juice and I love it. I don't have my green juice and I should or I better or ought to have it. I have my green juice and I love it. Then after that, I might have a fruit smoothie or a green smoothie. And my fruit smoothies are awesome. They are epic. They are just so, it's like dessert. I'll have 6 bananas at a time in the smoothie. And bananas, one of the things about bananas that's really important is bananas need to be ripe. Lots of people, including me, would have slightly green or yellow bananas. And bananas need to have brown spots on them. Bananas are one of the few foods that go from a starch, which we don't want, to a sugar, which we do want. And it increases in nutrition as it ages, including energy as it ages. And so bananas, I'll put dates in. So I got sweets, right? Then I might do a green smoothie and put some kale in it, some parsley, and I could have other fruit in it too, like mangoes. One of my favorite dishes that I got from Victoria Butenko, who wrote the book Green for Life, who's known as the Green Smoothie Queen, is mangoes and parsley. 2 ingredients. Isn't that boring? Just 2 ingredients? Try it. It is so the opposite of boring. It is so good. If you get ripe mangoes and parsley, somehow that marriage together is just beautiful. And yeah.
Hey, I have a couple questions.
Yep.
So you said that you should not mix sugar and fat. So fruit and nuts, you would never eat nuts with the fruit, correct?
Pretty much. That it's best not to, but there are some exceptions, and there's 3 different types, or there's 4 different types. There could be more than that, types of fruit. I'm going to say there's 5 types of fruit. There's fat fruit, like coconuts, avocados, and durian. There's melons. There are sweet fruits. And then there are 2 others that go great with fats. And that is subacid fruits and acid fruits, especially acid fruits. Acid fruits are typically citrus. The citrus family, sometimes pineapple and kiwis, they could be on the acid side, and they can go good with nuts and seeds, or better. The best food combination and how many ingredients to have is 1. That's the best way to eat, mono-mealing. Mono meals, that's how we ate in nature. We went to one tree, we ate from it, and then we went to the next. But now we're in these culinary artistry came into effect, and now we have 20 different ingredients, and we need all of this so we could finally be happy and satisfied.
If the juice is good, why not the whole thing?
What's that?
If the juice, you said that you juice, the green juice,
Yep.
why not eat the whole leaf? Why
Yep.
not consume the whole thing?
Yes, that is a good question. The question is, why not have, why take the fiber out if everything is good in the vegetable itself? If you have kale has some really good fiber in it, so why not have the kale that? So they're both good. That's why I do juices and smoothies. So the benefits of each are this. Juices, we're going to get more nutrition from juice because we could juice 6 carrots or something, but we're not going to eat 6 carrots. We could juice stock a whole bunch of kale, but we probably aren't going to eat the whole thing of kale. But when we juice it, we get all the nutrition, excluding the fiber. But fiber is very important. I'm not lacking in fiber in any way because I'm not juicing all day. I'm just juicing for a meal. So I get plenty of fiber. So I do green smoothies and I do green juices. So there's pluses and minuses. The thing about fiber, what's so good is there is soluble fiber and there's insoluble fiber. Soluble fiber helps us carry the food through us that we have eaten. Insoluble fiber helps us carry the food through us that we've eaten and grab some other debris on our GI tract as well. So like kale has some insoluble fiber in it, and I got this new shirt, only kale can save us now. So it's yeah, you had a question?
So the juicer that you were using for the demonstration last time, it didn't extract any of the fiber.
Correct, because it wasn't a juicer.
Okay.
It was a blender. So there is juicer that extracts the fiber, takes the fiber out, and then there is the blender which keeps it all as a whole food. So yes, so I do both. I have a juicer, I have a blender, I have a food processor, I have a dehydrator. There's all these things. So as we go on in the day, I get a little heavier. Heavier meaning a little more fatty. So some people need fat in the morning. Some people just like, because they have fruit and they're too like hyper, and they need a little bit of fat just to kind of like mellow them out, because fat slows you down. And sugar will hype you up, and if you're not used to that, it's like, it's uncomfortable to feel so good and so much energy, and like you can be spinning. So a lot of times there are things you could do to kind of slow the sugar absorption. That's why green smoothies are so good, because now you combine it with greens. The fiber is a little tougher in greens than it is in fruit. You're combining those together, and you're having a little bit slower of a rise in sugar and a steady flow. It works really good for a lot of people.
And so would you add the coconut oil in the smoothie for the morning or not?
I sometimes do. Coconut oil is a really good one to add. It is a fat, but I really try to keep my fats later. I try to be light in the morning, and just get, as the day goes on, just get heavier and heavier. And I'm not talking like, you know, to the point where now I'm having pizza, but I'm just saying you just go a little bit heavier as the day goes on. Why do I do that? Because fats go real slow down. Fruits and juices go real fast. If you're having this slow, and then you're having this fruit, boom, and then you have a traffic jam. And then you have indigestion and gas, and it could be heartburn and all the digestive problems, right? Because slow fat, avocados real slow, coconut oil slow. Then here comes fruit, and then they mix. Some people are good with it, and they could do it well. Some people are more sensitive to it. So what I always tell people is like, this is the way I eat. This is what works for me. We got to experiment with what works for you. There's so many, I have one side of a theory of what works, but that doesn't mean it works for everybody. Everybody's different. Everybody's going through a different part of detoxification. But I have seen that people, generally speaking, can have a little bit more fruits and vegetables in their diet. And as they do, and they have more of that, the other stuff goes away in its own time. That's what I tell people too, is like, don't take anything out of your diet. Don't stop eating this, don't stop eating that. Just start to increase the good stuff, and the other stuff goes away in its own time without any deprivation from you. The whole diet mentality is always about restriction. I can't have, I want. I can't have, I want. I can't. Then it is on, and I want it, and I embrace it, and then I'm back with myself again. How did I get here again? Because I was restricting. I'm talking about abundance, getting your food on 3 times a day. It is like on. There's no like, let me leave a little bit because that's too. No, I eat the full plate. If I want it, if I don't, then I leave it. But the body knows. If we're eating the right stuff, the body knows. The body has the wisdom, not me, not this mind. The body is the genius.
That's right. And there's some great, I just wanted to add to that there's some great markers for you to start paying attention to that, because it is such a good point. We all have different biochemistries, just like we have different physical features. So our cells are a little different from one to the other. So what gives Steve a lot of energy might not be what gives you a lot of energy, or vice versa. So there are a few things, and I love listing them out because it's just something to become aware. After you eat something, be aware of what you ate, and then within an hour or two, pay attention to how you're thinking. Are you foggy-minded, or is it very crisp, clear thinking? How's your energy level? Are you hungry again really quickly? Are you moody? You know, and those are things to become aware of ourselves, and it's just paying attention to how we feel and understand that what we put in our bodies is the drug that's going to affect the biochemistry. So it's a good way, because it is like, okay, what are we left with? Okay, everybody's different, well, but still, what do I do? And what do we do is we pay attention to what we're eating, try to make the best choices we can, try to go as natural as possible because of all the reasons that you have said today, but also paying attention to how your body responds to it. I just wanted to add that, because those are the markers of understanding how we respond to food is huge, and you're never going to find out until you pay attention. You're going to be your best nutritionist.
Right.
Because you know how your body feels, including mind, digestion, moods, you know, and energy levels, and how you sleep at night. That's huge too.
Yeah. Thank you, Myra.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
I know people have talked about when you're juicing, there are different juicers to use.
Yes.
Some are better than others.
Yes.
And some talk about the blade heating up the product when you're juicing.
Yes.
I was in Costco the other day, and they have a juicer that's $300, and it's called Huron, Huron.
Yes.
Slow juicer. Are you familiar with that?
Yes. Yes.
Which juicer would you recommend based on your experience?
There's basically two types of juicers. There's the centrifugal juicers that go and they're really fast, and those heat up the vegetables more. And then there are auger juicers that go slower and heat up the juices, the vegetables less. They still heat them up. You're still processing. Natural foods in their natural state is where I want to go to, and that's what I teach. But I don't do that. As soon as I put it in a blender, I'm processing it. You can get hot soup out of a blender. You can make hot soup out of a blender, and juices can lose their nutrition. So the slower auger ones that have they're like horizontal. They're kind of like a meat grinder, and they kind of just squeeze. And then the centrifugal ones are like and that does that heats it up more.
Like the ones at Whole Foods.
Yeah, Whole Foods has that. Yeah, because they want to be quick with it. I have that one at my house. I do I also have the auger one too. So there's benefits and liabilities to both. So it is less nutritious to have the but it's quicker and it's easier on cleanup. And so you're still getting this juice that's been heated a little bit, or it's still a cold juice. It's not like it's not hot, but there's some nutrients that might be lost that had you had the auger, but it's so much quicker. So so I do both. Sometimes I'll do stuff where it's just and sometimes I'll go and do that. A lot of times when I want to get my dark greens in, dark green leaves don't do as well in the as like the slower auger. So sometimes when I'm just doing like a cucumber and lemon and maybe kale, which is a dark green, but there's only like 1 or 2 dark greens, I'll go into the But when I want to do like wheatgrass, it's got to be in the auger. It won't even go in that because wheatgrass is so tough. So yes, there's benefits. You know what the thing is though, is like, should I get this juicer or should I get that juicer? Get a juicer. Whatever. It's going to be so much better than not having the juicer. I was at Whole Foods the other day, and I do talks at Whole Foods, and we were talking about fruits are like the best thing in the world, and those are like the end all to be all, the most nutritious, awesome. And other people are like, no, it's vegetables, and the fruit people are wrong, and we're having this whole and the vegetable people and the fruit people are saying no, the vegetable people because it's harder to digest vegetables than fruit, and people are like, and I'm like, isn't it great that we're arguing over fruits or vegetables? Like, I mean, what an awesome thing to be like, okay, so it's like, just get the juicer, get the blender, get it. I know I could talk to you after about my favorite ones. I mean, there's basically 2 blenders out there that are the industry standard, Vitamix and Blendtec. I have both. The juicer, I have a Breville, and I have an Omega. I have both. So, but this is my, you can just get one. I think for most people who are starting out, I would recommend the Zoot one and have less nutrition, so much less, but so much easier to clean up and quicker to do because it's going to be a convenient thing. I recommend that. Vitamix or Blendtec, you can pretty much have either one. They're both great. There's some pluses and minuses, but they're both, just get the blender. This is so good. Blender to me is the #1 thing in the kitchen. That is my #1 tool. Juicer would be second, food processor would be third, and then a dehydrator would be fourth. But blender, you could just live off a blender. And I did for a while. I didn't even have a juicer for a while. Blender was, I was making smoothies and stuff. So the day for me goes, first it's water. I do drink a lot of water first. And I'll drink about a quart upon rising. And you do like 2 16 ounces at a time or something. You don't have to be like, he said a quart, I got to do a quart. This is what works for me. And then I'll go to the green juice and I'll get more liquid. And then I'll go into some fruit. I might eat fruit, or I might have this smoothie I was talking about before, whether it be a fruit smoothie or a green smoothie. And then I pretty much will have that throughout the day when I want to. I might have some fruit through the day, or another green smoothie, or I can make a green pudding. I make these puddings that are awesome. Like I was telling you before about the parsley mango pudding. It's epic. And yeah.
So no coffee?
Coffee. Do you know why coffee works? Caffeine is a poison. And the body, in its infinite wisdom, revs itself up to get rid of the poison as soon as possible.
Isn't it coffee a bean? Or?
It is a bean. It's one of the few beans that have caffeine. There's cacao and there's that. There are benefits to coffee. And they tout all the benefits too. There's also liabilities too. So I personally don't have coffee. I used to. I used to go to Starbucks and get frappuccinos, put caramel sauce in and all that. I mean, I just loved caffeine. I loved how high I felt. But there is a distinction between energy. People say coffee gives me more energy. Meat gives me energy. How many times have you heard that? I got to get my energy. There's a distinction between energy and stimulation. And there's 2 totally different things. Real energy is sustaining. Stimulation is up and down. And then people get kind of tired. They need their cup of coffee again, their afternoon coffee. So I eat the water, then the juice, and then the fruits and the vegetables through the day. And then it's nighttime, I have my salad. And I have my King Kong salad. I call it my King Kong salad because it's huge. It's like in this bowl that you serve a family with. And I get down with my salad. And I'll have all my vegetables, maybe some romaine cut up, some cilantro, different greens like that, cucumber maybe. Then I'll dice up some red pepper, some orange pepper, some yellow pepper, give the tricolor look. Maybe put in some purple cabbage to give it some cabbage look. And that's just vegetables. And okay, those are okay. But what about the dressing? It's all about the dressing. That's what makes everything taste great. So avocados are usually the base of my dressing. And there could be a coconut vinegar or an apple cider vinegar, and then I'll start to get into some spices, and I might put some fruit in it. Remember, fruit and fats don't mix so well, but acid fruits do. And subacids do too. So an acid fruit is like a lemon or orange. I'll squeeze some orange. We're in orange citrus season now. We are in the midst of citrus season. You can squeeze some orange. You could have a great dressing just by having avocado, cilantro, orange. Squeeze some orange juice in there. Maybe some lemon, and a little bit of vinegar and avocado. Did I say avocado? And maybe put in some cumin. It's awesome as it is. If you want to put a little salt, make it sea salt or Himalayan rock salt or something like that. Not the refined table salt. But you don't even need that. The celery can do it for you. Celery's full of salt. So you can do it. And greens have plenty of salt. Salt is really good for us. just like sugar is really good for us, but it's the right sugars and the right salts. We find our salts in greens, and we find our sugars in fruit. And so sugar and salt, really good for us. If you have fake salt and fake sugar, really bad for us. And so...
no olive oil in the dressing?
Olive oil, I'll do some olive oil. You can put some in that. But again, now we're looking at extracted food. And the only thing I really like to extract are green juices. Oils themselves, the olive would be better. But you know what? As we're doing this, we don't have to be perfect. Have some olive oil. Go have the coconut oil. Go have the... You don't have to be 100% perfect or 100% raw or 100%. You can just ease into this. And if that makes you want to have the salad instead of going out and having some kind of ribs or sandwich or whatever, guzzle the olive oil if you want to, you know? So yeah, do the olive oil. And but you'll find that as you start to clean up more and more, you will start to decrease in your cravings. And why? You know, and I'm going to wrap it up pretty soon. We're about done with time. Yeah? Okay. So cravings happen when the body's out of balance, and cravings come from the body saying, I need something else. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a Reese's peanut butter cup. No, that's not really what it is, but that's what our bodies want because it's out of balance. As we start to clean up more and more, our bodies come into more and more balance, and guess what? Cravings diminish. So all of a sudden it's like, hey, I'm not really tempted about that. I could walk into a party now and say, you know, I'm not really tempted for that anymore. Where if I'm all out of balance, I'm tempted. I need that to fix me, to numb me out like a drug. And so I don't need that anymore. So natural foods in their natural state help me become more of who I really am. Pure energy. Love and light, it's all the same thing. I become more and more of who I really am, removing the obstructions and giving me this thing in life called happiness and joy and abundance. And so I get to do this now. I've changed careers from corporate to do this, what I'm doing, because this is my passion, this is my love. I love helping people see a client go from all this head knowledge to think they know everything because they've read it in this book or this article or heard it on this TV show, and then they start to just say, oh, let's get back to nature and simplicity, and then they start to feel better. And it's one of the most rewarding things in the world for me to do, is to see somebody feel better, and that I got to help them help themselves. It's not me like I'm like the one who's doing it. I get to help them help themselves, and then they start to feel more and more of who they really are. And it's an awesome experience. So with that, I just want to say thank you so much for coming, and thank you, Myra, for having me.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Steve Factor. Yay.